Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's informational session for Forward Founders. First of all, I just want to say thank you for all of you guys for showing up today. I know that for people that this has been a hard week. For anyone who's based in Minneapolis, it's very much a hard week. So I just want to acknowledge and thank you for taking time out of your busy schedules to come sit with us today. So just as a quick introduction, my name is Alana Hinkston. I'm the Senior Program Manager here at Target on the Forward Founders Program. And really what today is, it's an informational session on what Forward Founders is. So before we get started, I want to get an idea of who's here in the room with us. So I have a quick poll and I've just launched it for you guys. Would love to know who in the room has started their application for Forward Founders, just so I can understand like what type of information you all need today. Awesome. So I'm seeing a spread here about half of the folks not yet. The other 25% are working on it. Some folks are all done. Shout out to you all. Awesome. I think we have a couple more votes here. So I'll go ahead and close the poll. So just so you guys can get an idea of who you're in the room with, of course, we're from all over the country. Thanks for telling me in the chat, as well as we have a good mix of people who haven't started yet to are in progress to have already submitted in. So this is super exciting. Also, I would love to just know, just to be sure I am answering all your guys' questions, drop in the chat what you're super interested in learning about today. So what are you why are you in this webinar today? Why are you super interested in, yes, learning how to make your application stand out? We will be talking about that. What supplemental information is important? Some questions about what's in the program, the selection process, questions about specific parts of the application. Awesome. Perfect. Well, hopefully we'll be able to get to all of those questions on today. I will say that I will have a presentation. It'll be about 10-15 minutes here at the top, and then truly the rest of it is Q&A. And so there is a Q&A button on the webinar. If you guys can use that to ask your questions, because your question may get lost in the chat, because I love folks getting in there having conversation. So if you have a question throughout this time, drop it into the Q&A box and we'll try to get to it here throughout the session, as well as at the end, we'll leave the call open to answer questions. I see some of y'all have already figured it out. So perfect. So let's get into it. So some of you guys may have heard of Target Accelerators, others haven't. But what we try to do here at Target Accelerators is really engage startups through dedicated programs that help provide meaningful value and capabilities to Target. So this year we do this through a lineup of 2 programs really supporting our merchandising organization. So the first is Takeoff, which has been running for about 5 years now. They do 5-week virtual programs covering different categories within Target. So this year we've run beauty, pets, and currently right now there's a food and beverage application open. So for those who are in food and bev who are like, do I do Takeoff? Do I do Forward Founders? I'll hit that here at the end of today's session. And then secondly, which is new into our portfolio, which is why you guys are all here, is to talk about the Forward Founders program, which is the newest program in our lineup, really supporting early stage startups. And so I'll be sure to, like I said, hit on both of those. So you guys are probably asking, what is Forward Founders? Well, I will say, starting last summer, our team really took a second and asked ourselves, what is it that early stage founders, particularly Black founders, need to be successful? Because we knew that if we could solve the problems for some of the most under-resourced founders, we could solve it for all. So I would say we spent the last 6 months listening and learning. We built a Target Accelerators Entrepreneurship Council where we brought in founders, ecosystem partners who walked with us month by month as we thought about the strategy for this program and how to build it the strongest we could for early stage product companies. In addition, we went on a listening tour, talking to tons of founders, webinars, Instagram lives, like anywhere y'all were sharing information about what you needed, we were probably there listening. And so really what ended up being a result is the program that we're going to talk about today, which is really about equipping historically under-resourced founders to be the next wave of generational wealth building companies by utilizing Target's privilege to democratize access, education, and resources. And so what does that look like in practicality? Well, first of all, it's having a great team. So as you guys can see today over here, they took the picture on a good day, thank the Lord. But I, as I said, am the senior program manager. I also work with a great program manager, Hannah. She couldn't be with us today, but you guys, if you become part of the program, she's awesome. You'll be like her best friend. She's a program manager. She spent the last 2 years with us actually building our incubator program, which is our social impact. And so she has a ton of knowledge of helping smaller companies within the Target ecosystem. And finally on our team is Pernell Caesar. So we took it really important that for this program, we wanted to be sure to not only get the retailer perspective, but to also get the founder perspective. So Pernell is our first ever strategic advisor. He also serves as CEO and co-founder of Black and Bold, which you can buy in Target. I always joke with him, I'm like, I'm not a coffee drinker, I'm a tea drinker. He has some lovely loose leaf tea. He's the reason I now have all of the loose leaf tea sippers. I don't know the right word for it, but I put the tea in there, then the tea works. But he has been alongside us as we've built the curriculum for this program. I will also say coming up in the announcements here in the next couple of weeks, we have a few other folks who will be joining our team as support as well over the summer. So let's talk about a little bit what's in this program. So how I really think about it is in the 3 categories, which you saw in our vision statement, which is education, access, resources. So I'm going to spend a little bit of time explaining more. So what does that mean for you guys as part of this program? So this program is an 8-week completely virtual program. COVID is alive and well. We at Target aren't even back in our offices yet. So we are all going to be virtual. In this program, each week you go through it is we each week will have a theme according to our retail action plan. So what is a retail action plan, or a RAP is what we like to call it inside of Target. It is the proprietary curriculum and workbook that we're creating just for the founders in this program to help you think about how to scale your business for retail. So we're talking about the infrastructure of the business, how you plan. So the themes of this program will include Retail 101, understanding the competitive landscape. What's the difference between pitching a Target versus a Walgreens versus a Sephora? Like, each of us are looking for different things in the companies that come in, right? So we're going to be talking about that. Then we'll talk about how do you use data to make decisions? Where do you see growth? So retailers have a ton of data about consumers, products. And so we have some relationships with big data partners like Mintel. So we're actually going to be bringing in partners like Mintel to talk about where they see different categories growing. So you, as founders, you can think about, where do I see growth in my category? Where is there not predicted growth? We'll then be talking about marketing and branding and how to tell your story. We'll go into manufacturing and logistics and unit forecasting and demand and all the things about logistics for how to get your product on shelf. Then we'll be talking about retail financials, right? Like, retail's fun and games, right? Until you get a fee. So we're gonna be talking about what are those fees? What are margins, IMUs, PMUs? We'll go into financial viability. So, right, the idea of like, wait, to fund my business, should I be doing capital? Should I be doing banking or loans? Or we'll be talking through all of that. And really then in the last week, we'll be wrapping up your wrap, no pun intended there. And really having it in the last week, you know what you would need to do to be true to get into retail. I would also say a huge part of this program is that after the 8 weeks, you are not done with us. We have a robust post-program support and alumni, and I think I talk a little bit about that here in a second. Oh, I'm already there on the slide. Just kidding. So alumni support. So post-program, you will have continued workshops that hit on subjects that we don't cover within the program, such as how do I build a team for retail? What is a rep group? What is it? We'll touch a little bit on 3PLs, like strong 3PLs. So on a quarterly basis, you'll be getting back together with your cohort, talking about some of these topics. After the program, you'll have office hours, so you'll get to talk to me and Hannah even more, and other folks from Target. As well as, one of the things with this program is, coming right out of it, you probably still won't be ready for Target, but when you are, we're going to be offering support for line reviews. And line reviews, for those who don't know, within retail, is what we at least call Target, the meeting that you have with the buyer for them to decide if you come into Target or not. So we'll be providing prep for that. How do you think about your deck? How do you approach that conversation? What are the different things like net terms or things you're negotiating? So we offer all of that support as well. So the next big pillar of our program is access. So the first thing is, y'all, when I can't announce it yet, but we have a lineup of some of the biggest, baddest entrepreneurs out there. I mean, we're Target, so think about folks who are on our shelves. We know them. So we are going to have some great industry disrupting speakers throughout the program. How we've designed this is, each week, according to the theme, we're going to be bringing in subject matter experts and founders to talk about that subject. And not only are they going to be with us for them talking about the topic for an hour, but we hold our Thursdays for what we call office hour days, right? And so they're actually open up time to do group sessions and one-on-ones to go deeper into the topics. Not only on a weekly basis are you going to be introduced to different subject matter experts, actually within the program, we have founders in residence. So I always joke, you guys will probably get tired of my voice at some point in time. So we're actually bringing in founders who will be with you guys all 8 weeks. So think of them as your built-in mentors to help you navigate. Hey, this week we're talking about manufacturing. Like, how did you do it? Or this is what I'm thinking. What is your feedback? To sit with you guys. You'll be able to have smaller group sessions with them and really get to know them, not only from the program level, but on a personal level. As I mentioned before, industry leading resources. We'll introduce you guys to Mintel, different Target experts, right? We have people who touch all across the business. So being able to bring them in and talk about, how does a buyer make a decision? What's inventory? How do we think about marketing? And then finally, accessible programming. So though this program does not have an equity investment with it, what we do provide is a $5,000 stipend for program related expenses. We understand that, like, some of you are parents and you may have to get a babysitter for the program because this is happening in the evenings. That's what the $5,000 are for. Some of y'all internet may need some upgrades. That's what the $5,000 are for. You need a new computer to handle everything, right? So we really want to be sure, if there's any cost for you to be part of this program, that we cover that within our stipend. I would also say that this program, we did a lot of research and we understood that a lot of founders, when they're at this stage, may still be working their full-time jobs. So all required sessions will be offered on Tuesday and Wednesday evenings we're thinking about 5 to 8 p.m. Central Time. That will be available. And then, as I mentioned earlier, our Thursdays are like our on-demand office hour days. So there'll be different slots throughout the day to work with our FIRs, to work with our weekly speakers, to work with our program managers, where you can schedule that on your own time frame. And then here, third, is resources. So the first thing is wellness. I don't know about y'all, but this last year and a half has been nuts. And I can't imagine going through this last year. If some of you are working your full-time jobs, that's crazy. Then you're running a business. So we want to be sure to help take care of you as a full person. So we're going to provide access to various wellness resources to ensure that we're caring for you guys as your full selves. Secondly, is being part of this program means you're now part of the Target Accelerators family and network. So we have the opportunity for you guys to connect with different with our network of partners for incremental opportunities for education and for funding. And third is, maybe many of you guys are solopreneurs, you're by yourself. We are going to be so intentional on building those community building moments. If you are in the team No New Friends, you're going to have new friends now, because we are going to do a lot of community building so you can engage with other founders to really expand your network. Here I'll pause, because this is a question that I get a ton about the program is, hey, being part of this program, am I guaranteed business at Target? No, you are not. Through any of our programs, we do not guarantee coming in. What we do say is that now that we know you, target knows of you. So as opportunities arise, we definitely will present those up to you and for you, but you are not guaranteed business into Target. So here I just have a quick overview of what I talked about, right? So our programming is virtual Tuesday, Wednesday evenings with on-demand mentoring on Thursdays. And then as I mentioned before, that post-program, the hefty part of the programming where exclusive access to quarterly workshops, the office hours. You are also going to be part of the Target Accelerators family. There's over 150 companies who have been with us over the last 8 years worldwide. So if you think about some of your favorites at Target, Young King Hair Care, Gold, Range Beauty, all of them came through Target Accelerators family, and now you're part of their family as well. So whatever benefits anyone who gets through Target Accelerators, you get as well. So let's talk a little bit about the application. When you guys were saying what you were looking for today, a lot of y'all talked about the application. So I'll talk a little bit about first kind of like the standards, what we're looking for, and then I'll hit into what's going to really make your application stand out. So first thing we're looking for are products within the following categories. So it's food and beverage. So I'd like to think about our categories as like if you're walking through Target, like what do you see? So right, food and bev. So anything you see in the grocery area, if you can eat it basically and not get sick, fair game. Beauty and cosmetics, so that includes like your body washes, nail care, facials, everything within that section. Household essentials, so think cleaning products, paper towels, toilet paper, everything within that section. Baby, everything within the baby section, so from clothes to toys to diapers. I don't have kids, so I don't really know everything that happens for babies, but if you have kids, just think about all that's fair game. Over the counter, so think wellness products, and then toys and entertainment. So think of everything like hard lines for us. So books fall within there, obviously toys, things like that. Also, if an easier way to think about it, if you're walking in Target, what is not part of this program is anything within apparel and accessories. So clothes, shoes, jewelry is not part of this program, as well as like home design. So think pillows, bedding, things like that. But things like stationery and such are fair game. The second thing is we're looking for early stage product companies. And I'll combine this with currently have a product in market. So I got a lot of questions before of like, is there a revenue minimum, maximum? There's not. What we are looking for is that you have a physical product already in market in that you're selling it. So if you're still in the ideate stage, I would ask that you go to our website and fill out our contact us page, but you have to have a physical product. We're looking for folks who don't have mass retail distribution, right? So if you are in like Walmart stores, you're at Ross, you're at TJ Maxx, like this probably wouldn't be a great fit for you because this is really for people looking to learn about retail. But if you're maybe in a couple mom and pop shops, you're on someone's like marketplace, that still is viable for this program. And lastly, you are looking to expand your business into retail. So if your vision for the company is like, I want to stay D2C, I'm not really interested in brick and mortar, this probably won't be a great program fit because we are going to be spending 8 weeks talking about brick and mortar. I also have seen a lot of questions, coming in about pets. Pets is fair game for this program. Thanks for whoever asked that. Yes, for pets. And I think I saw someone who asked, so no home decor or art decoration. Art decoration is fair, but like nothing in like the soft tactiles. Candles would also be good for this program. Thank you so much for asking. I'm trying to keep my eye here on the Q&A, y'all. So if I look distracted, I'm reading all the great things that you guys have. So a couple things, and I'll come back to some of the questions that are coming in the Q&A, is how to stand out. So as you guys can guess, this first page really isn't like, these are like kind of like the bare minimums of like what our team's looking for. But we have a section for those who've opened the application at the back where it's really those essay questions. And so out of these essay questions, these are really kind of the 4 themes that we're looking for. Is first, your company. What is your company? What is your desire for your company? What is your vision for where you want your company to go? We're really looking to see companies who are looking to expand. If you only have one SKU, or one product, I should say, like your vision is to expand out to 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. The second thing that we really look for is problem solution. So making it super clear, what is the problem that your company is looking to solve for the market? And then really clearly articulating how your product is the best solution for it. So what I like to talk about is maybe the problem you're trying to solve is like world hunger, but then you sell socks. Like, I could see the connection if, right, like for every pair of socks that you sold, you sell, right, you donate that money to an organization that's helping with food or helping with agriculture, right? But you need to be sure that you make that connection for us in your application. So I'll repeat that again. So making super clear what problem you're solving, how that is a problem that has longevity, right? That's not just a problem that's true May of 2021. Like, this is an ongoing problem that's going to be a problem 2022, 2023, 2024. And then how your product is the best solution for that and making the connect for us, especially when it's not like a direct, like one-to-one, like I'm solving like food hunger and I'm selling granola bars, right? Like, make that connection for us. The second is innovation, vision for the future. This goes a lot with company, but like, where do you envision your company here in 2 to 3 years? Do you see yourself in retail? Do you see yourself expanding to be more of a media company, lifestyle brand? Like, really paint the picture for us of where you want to go. I will give the 100 and so of y'all on this call a big tip. Say in here that you want to go onto retail shelves. If you don't include like my vision for my product, like vision for my company is not going into retail, we have to try to guess and make that connection. That's why you want to be part of the program. So really be sure to like articulate how retail shelves, and it doesn't have to be specifically Target, it just has to be in general. And the final thing is a growth mindset. This program, you heard about this in the opening of, there's going to be tons of speakers, tons of opportunities for people to discuss and have feedback. We're really looking for you as founders or those who are coming into the program to have a growth mindset. And what do I mean by that? Like, you crave learning. You crave feedback. You crave not only wanting to learn, but to share. So I believe the question on the application is like, what is it that you'll bring to the cohort, right? Like, you'll take all this information from us, but like, how are you really creating that community vibe? We're going to have 30 great companies, and like, I joke, but not like, I really want you all to be best friends. So we're looking for people who can create a vibe within a community and get along with folks. And so before we go into Q&A, I just want to touch on this. A question that we get a lot is, hey, am I a better fit, especially for our food and bev folks in the call? Am I a better fit for future founders or for takeoff? And do I have to fill out both applications? So I will start here at the top. No, you do not have to fill out both applications. Great thing is we're all one team. You have Hannah and myself on the Ford Founders team, and then Justine and Ann in the virtual sit right next to us. We see them almost every day. So if you fill out one of the applications and we read it and we think you're a better fit for the other program, we'll just pass it over to the other program team. And there's a question on our application that asks if you're open to that. So if I'm you, I would click yes, so you can be considered for both. But let's talk a little about what Takeoff Food and Bev is. So this is our first time into food and bev. So we are beyond excited because samples, like, there's nothing wrong with like a pet sample, like if you have a dog, but like, there's nothing like getting a food sample, right? Like, you can ingest that, you can enjoy it. So we're super excited about this. And so how Takeoff works is, as I've said before, it's a 5-week virtual program, and it's really geared towards companies that are ready for retail. They have their infrastructure in place. They understand how to do logistics, the marketing. They just maybe need to shore up a few things, but they understand how it works. And this program is really teaching you about how to do business with Target. And so the team does such a great job of creating a great lineup of speakers, of Target experts. One of the big, I think, strongest proponents of this program is that you get to meet with the buyer, so the person who makes a decision whether your product comes into Target or not, multiple times. You get to meet with the planner, who's the person who figures out the financials, the inventory analyst who's ordering the products, right, and setting your POs multiple times within the 5 weeks. And the biggest difference between Forward Founders and Takeoff is Takeoff ends with a line review with the buyer. So the whole time in the 5 weeks, you're putting together your line review deck, you're getting feedback from multiple folks, and then you actually sit down with the buyer in that last week and get a decision on if you're coming into Target or not. So for some of you guys who feel like, oh, I'm right on the cusp of like, am I early, but I think I'm ready to go into retail, Food and Bev Takeoff is the place to go. Their application's on the same page as ours. Their date is just 2 days before ours. And so a big question I get to is, do I do both? You don't have to fill out both. If you're on the fence, just fill out one, and then we'll share it with the right team. So here are a couple of key dates, and then I'll get into some of the Q&A. I'll try to get through as much Q&A as I can. So next steps are, we do have ongoing office hours. I was alerted by someone that they are all full. So give us a couple days here, and we'll put some more times up there. We're so excited. We did our first round on Tuesday. It's been amazing meeting some of you guys and your peers. And so we're excited to continue meet and answer some of those company specific questions. All applications are due May 12th. I am a natural procrastinator, so I would, if I were y'all, I would probably start my application on the 11th. If I'm you, don't procrastinate. Like, I would tell myself, don't procrastinate. But the applications will close at midnight on May 12th. So please be sure it is submitted by then. From there, our team will review all the applications, and then the top about 60 will be invited into an interview. So if you're invited to an interview, you'll hear from us late May. So probably the last week of May, first week of June, we'll conduct our interviews there in a week, and then our cohort will be announced mid-June. So you will hear from us on a decision by middle of June. So especially for your food and bev, you may hear from us or you may hear from our Takeoff folks, but just know if you email me May 15th, hey, am I in the program? I don't know yet. So just hold off on like emailing us, asking us till about mid-June. And then the program itself will run between July 12th and September 3rd. So I like to say you're going to spend your 4th of July to your Labor Day with our team on Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. So here's just a quick snapshot of kind of everything we talked about today. But I'm going to just hop into Q&A. Hey, Hannah, in the application, it asks, what is notable press? Can you talk a little bit about what we're looking for when we say notable press?
Yes, that is a great question, and we really do get it all the time. So notable press can be anything from if your company was written about in a local newspaper, in a publication somewhere, that would be one example of notable press. If you're featured on a news segment, or even if you've won like a pitch competition, anything like that can be considered notable press. Alana, would you add anything to that?
No, I think you hit all the big buckets there. It's just something where someone else has talked about your brand in a larger way, most times via, what's the word I'm looking for? Via social media, anything like that. Awesome. Here, I'll take this next question because some of it cut off. My bad. Does participating in the program guarantee business with Target? No, it does not guarantee business with Target. Coming out of the program, the end result is to have a plan for how to get your business into retail within 1 to 2 years. But what I will say is, and this applies for both people in the program and those applying, We know who you are. And as our team hears about opportunities that are coming up, we definitely will keep you guys under consideration. And for those who are alumni of the program, you will get prepped by our team. So not only will you know about the opportunity, we will ask and we will help you ensure that, like, yep, my business is ready to go to be able to sustain a target business, but also prep you for those meetings, ensure that you're telling your story correctly. And I will also make the note too, for those who are applying for the program, we also now know about you. We, as in Big T Target, meaning that you will, like, we will keep you on our radars as opportunities present itself. But no, coming through this program does not guarantee that you will come on shelf, though we do see a high success rate. About 50% of folks who come out of our programs do make it on shelf, which is super cool. Hey, Hannah, can you just go a little bit into like what topics that will be covered in our weekly workshops?
Yes, absolutely. So I think I mentioned some of them before, but I will repeat them here. So we're going to give you a Retail 101 session. So really just a whole overview of what retail is in general, like what are the different types of ways that you can sell at retail, and maybe even just some like retail jargon that we use in kind of everyday speak. So you're really set up for the rest of the program. We will also be jumping into branding. So, how do you brand your company and what do, buyers look for when they're looking for companies in that sense. We'll also go through retail financials. So talking through some of those key terms that our finance people like to use when we're talking about bringing a company into Target. And then also just funding your business. We know that this is a huge thing that founders deal with. Should I raise? Should I not raise? Should I get equity or not? So we'll kind of talk through that at a high level and all the different ways that you can fund your business. Alana, do you want to jump into maybe some of the other weeks and sessions?
Yeah, for sure. We will have a week 2 that talks about go-to-market strategy. And really this idea, right, remember when I talked about growth mindset, having the ability to do self-assessment, it's really assessing of like, where do I want my business to go and how do I make a plan thinking about retail? As Hannah mentioned, we're giving you guys access to data that the retailers use to think about how categories are growing, where we see opportunities. So as you even have the data to think about as you think about future SKUs or where you want your business to go, having that information. And so really the weeks build on each other to get you to that last week of being able to talk about your brand and about how retail fits into it and like what things you need to do, what team members you need to add, what capabilities you need to have in order to sustain a business with a mass retailer. So we got this question of how can participants best prepare for the program? Keep building great businesses. Keep selling, keep learning more about your consumer, keep building towards a vision is the best way to prepare, but there aren't any like required readings or anything like that. Anything that's required, we will let you know once you get into the program and you start onboarding. I'll take this next one too. And then I think I have the same question twice. Oops. The last question is, does my website need to be live for me to apply to the program? We also hear like, does my social media need to be ready? I'll break this down for you. You want to put your best foot forward. Most times when we're going and we're checking out your website, we're checking out your social media, it's because we're trying to find out more about your brand. If I click on your URL and it does not work, that means I am not getting the information that I'm looking to get. It is in your best interest that your website works. It is in your best interest that you have something on your social media, because myself, everybody else on our crew does look at that to just understand, like get more information on your brand, check out what your products look like, just so we can have a good sense of what we're reviewing. I would say that across the board, like I said, your website, your social media, anything for the application, it is in your best interest to put your best foot forward. It is in your best interest to write incomplete sentences. It is in your best interest to describe out your products, right? All our team has is the information that you provide for us. It is on you. So does your website have to be live? It is not required, but it behooves you to have a strong application to have everything live. So those are all the pre-prepared questions. So I'm going to stop sharing here, but I know that we have a ton of stuff in the Q&A. So you know what? Okay, y'all came really prepared. I see whole bullet points. Okay, y'all gonna have to bear with us. I thought it was one by one. There's one here that has 8. Okay, we got this. Hannah, we'll go back and forth on this. I think, Hannah, can you just describe a little bit more for us what success looks like? Like what at the end of the day in 2 years, 3 years, 5 years gets us really excited about where the companies who participate in this will be?
Yeah, absolutely. So I would say that, when you leave this program, the goal is that you have this 1 to 3 plan into getting into mass retail. If you go through this program and you decide that mass retail isn't for you, that's not what you want to do moving forward, or even Target isn't right for you, that's totally fine. We are really creating this program to set you up for the most success for your future, whatever it looks like. We certainly hope that that involves mass retail, and we certainly hope that that means Target, but we really just want to see your companies continue to be successful in the best way that makes sense for your company.
Awesome. No, that is great. Okay, so I'm gonna kind of put a bunch of questions together that kind of fall on this theme of questions on like being successful on Target shelves, getting your stuff onto shelves, kind of all in that range. How many stores you'll launch in, all of that. This program is not a guarantee to get on shelves. It is one of the paths for consideration, but you will not be on shelves as part of this program. So a lot of those questions are a tad bit premature for this setting of a call to better understand. I will say though, like that is part of what we cover within the program though, is starting to answer those questions, because a lot of the questions, and you'll find this out in retail, it all depends. It depends on what category you're in. It depends on which retailer you're talking about. It depends on the time of year, what kind of transition, right? And so it's not a one size fits all for a lot of the questions are like, what's true for me to be on shelf? What about margins? What about the number of stores? So I will just say cover kind of all those questions in one, being like, depends. That's why we have built this program to start unlocking and helping you guys get super strategic on how you chase after that.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you want to add anything else to that,
Yeah,
Hannah.
no, I think that all sounds good. I did see one that I wanted to respond to. So, do I currently need to be in market, or would I be eligible while I am still pre-launch? So, unfortunately for this program, the answer is no. We are really looking for people that have already started selling products and already have some revenue. The reason for that being is this program is really set up to help those folks make it to the next level. If you are still, designing your company and in the early stages, there are other options out there in the market to support you in that stage, but this program wouldn't be the best one.
Yeah, that's a great point. And I think too, we build it like that way to behoove you. Like, as I said, there's a lot of self-assessment happening. So if you haven't sold if you haven't sold your product yet, then you're not going to have a lot of the data that you need to have the conversations and be able to keep up within the program. And so not that we aren't thinking about y'all. We are so excited to see those launch who haven't launched yet, but you wouldn't get everything out of the program without having sold your products first. So I think that goes really closely to the, do you have a minimum requirement with selecting? Yes, you need to be above 0. You could be at $1,000, but you got to be above 0. Okay, so I know we've been getting a lot of questions about editing applications. Y'all, ain't technology such a beautiful thing? You guys can edit your application. So what you need to do is email us at forwardfounders@target.com with the name that you got, the company name that you submitted under, and we can go back in and open back up your application for you to edit. So please be sure you're emailing. Thank you, Stacy, so much for dropping in that chat in the chat. forwardfounders@target.com. I'm trying to see here.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say
we have some questions.
Zoom delay. Okay, I'll go, then you go. Okay. When reviewing applications, are we looking for businesses that already sell in mass retail, or are we looking for people who already have experience in physical or online mass retail like Amazon? So if you are already selling in mass retail, go you. this program would probably be really boring for you. So once again, we set this up. I say this not because we don't want to see you be successful, but this program isn't probably the right fit for you if you're already in a mass retailer. So if you're interested in getting your products in Target, Stacy will drop a link for our supplier intake form. And so this is a portal that we have at Target where if you put your name into that, our teams as opportunities pop up. Do look at that and review it. And so if you're already in mass retail, that's a better direction for you to go than to apply for this program because you'll be too big. I will put an asterisk on there. There's a difference between being on someone's shelf and being in someone's marketplace. So if you physically are really set up to do D2C, you're working with other retailers in your drop ship, but you haven't figured out how to do the DC, like the distribution center, how to sell on shelves, this would be a good fit. But if you're already like on 100 shelves, this program would just be a little early for you. Okay, Hannah, you go to your question.
Yeah, awesome. I'm just seeing a ton of questions kind of asking for us to clarify the categories that we're looking at. So I think I'm just going to kind of go through as many as I can see right here. So kind of rapid fire. So someone asked a clarifying question. So no apparel or clothing. Unfortunately, in this program, we will not be accepting any apparel or clothing just because at Target, we have own brands. So Target designs and creates a lot of the apparel. So there aren't a lot of opportunities for startups and emerging businesses to get into the apparel space at Target yet.
Yes. I will also add an asterisk to that, big yet there. And the second thing is why we don't do, and I'll just go through this, A&A and Deck Home. So anything where we have a large own brand presence, it's a different process of getting into Target. And so we talk a lot about more so what we think of as a traditional way. You go through a line review, like you build your business, you go through a line review, you manufacture your own stuff. That is a process where for the categories Hannah's about to outline, it happens. But A&A and decorative home. So think my throw pillows, my bathroom, the pictures on the wall, my furniture, like all of that's very own brand heavy. And so it's just a different process. But we have some things up our sleeves for y'all. So don't lose hope. Keep reading our emails.
Yes, thank you. And then are hemp and CBD product companies able to apply? The answer is yes. Target doesn't currently sell CBD products, but that doesn't mean that we won't ever in the future. And then for entertainment section, does this include journals or books? I believe, Alana, keep me honest, yes to journals, yes to stationery, but like a book would, I don't believe that would qualify just because that is a completely different process. We get books from publishing partners, not directly from buyers within Target.
Yep. So like if you wrote and authored a book, that doesn't count. I also seen here a question about pets. Yes, pets do fit within here. Yes, candles do fit within it. We get there's a lot of people making candles. I have heard the candle one a lot. So yes, candles work. Okay, we have a question and then we'll keep, as we see them pop up on our Q&A, please be using the Q&A. We'll keep talking about those. A question for how many applications do you typically get? What's the acceptance rate? Y'all, this is a record-breaking year for us. So we have a lot of applications. So we don't have a typical acceptance rate at this point, but I will say we're accepting 30 companies at this time. But I will also say Hannah and I, as we talk about democratizing access, like we really mean that. And so more to come. So definitely fill out your application because we have some more things up our sleeves for those who do not make it into the program. I'm seeing a couple more things pop up of dietary supplements, vitamins. Yes, that fits within typically what's known as personal care, OTC, over the counter. Hannah, for the application, it has a section for submitting supplementary materials. It's a formal pitch deck strongly recommended. Like, what's our thought process on adding materials?
That is a great question. I don't know if we've gotten that question before. I will say that what's what makes a pitch deck really nice is it's a really easy, clean way for us to look at your whole business model from beginning to end. So it is a pro there, but if you fill out your application to like the best of your ability, like Alana said before, you're really explaining your product, you're explaining who your customer is, and anything that would be in the pitch deck would be repetitive, then I don't think it would give you a leg up over someone else. If you have the time and, to do it, I think it would definitely be a great addition to an application, but definitely will not disqualify you if you don't include a pitch deck in your application.
Yeah. How I like to say, it does not hurt. It can only help. And it just helps for more clarification and visioning. But like, if you've never made a pitch deck before, you don't have anyone to go through it, like, don't stress about it. Just be super, super clear in your application. In the application, we ask the questions of what we need to know. So trust and believe that. A question for someone is launching a new product. Their website is under construction. Will this eliminate their application if your website is not live? Your application will not be eliminated, but it just isn't putting your best foot forward. If we go to click to find more information, like if we're trying to I would say almost 99% of the time when we're clicking on a website outside of just like taking just a quick look, is we're probably trying to figure out more about your products. Like we're trying to like see maybe more like we're trying to see a picture of what your product is, or get like an understanding of like what you're doing, what you're serving. And so if we don't have that, that's just like an asset that we just don't have to look at. And so our team doesn't have as much information to go off of. And I should also add that into the application process, because people also ask this: should I send samples to you and Hannah? We would love it, but unfortunately, it doesn't actually help you as much. We wish it doesn't help you as much, because there is about 10 to 15 other people who are going to be taking a look at your guys' applications, and sometimes you'll only get one of our eyes or both of our eyes on it, and so it behooves you to think about what would happen if your application got reviewed by multiple different people. How clearly do you put it? In notable press, can it be social media or YouTube videos with product reviews or founder interviews in YouTube? I would say no. We really want to see it as other people talking about you and your product and what you've built. So I have a question about, if someone is under the age of 18, will you accept them if they're with their parent? So that's a great question. On record, the person has to be 18, who's going through the program, because it's just different laws when you go under the age of 18. One day we hope to, but it goes under it's just paperwork, a lot of paperwork there. Featured on back to notable press, featured on a podcast, that works.
Awesome. I'm seeing one. I don't have an LLC. Can I still apply? The answer is no. To be eligible for this program, you need to be an established business. On the application, there should be instructions on how to get established as an LLC. So if that is the only thing kind of holding you back from applying, you can probably finish that paperwork and have your company become an LLC before it's time to submit your application.
Which is May 12th at midnight. Okay. Question here for us sounds like we have some great programs. Thank you so much. What is considered far along when looking at the Takeoff program? Yes, that's such a great question, and I wish our counterparts were here. What is too far along is if, for example, you're in like all Walmart store, like quite frankly, like all Walmart stores, all Kroger, right, like you don't need an accelerator, like you can just come in and just straight sell at Target. I would say most small businesses that we've seen most times don't fall on that too far range, but I would say that it would behoove you to still apply. And I will tell you guys this over and over and over again: when you're in doubt, just apply for our programs. What's great about our accelerator program is that we're backed into the retailer. So if you're too far along, our teams are more prone to we work with our merchandising teams. We can just pass along the intro. So I would say it behooves you to still fill out the application. It behooves you to be as clear and crisp. I know the Takeoff one may require, I think, the pitch deck. Put your best pitch deck in there. because that information can still get used. So if you are too far along, we do have measures in place for what that means. Do we look at single product companies and multiple product companies equally? Yes. So if you just have one product, or if you have 1,500, like if you have 1,500 though, we got a lot of conversations to have. You probably are too big, but yeah, we'll look at them the same. How many times are we offering this program? How many businesses are selected? We are offering the program for sure this summer. We're in talks of for the next winter for sure. Our goal is each year to get through 100 folks, but this cohort will be 30 because we're dipping our toe into what it feels like to have more than 10 at a time. That's a lot of new friends. So we'll be looking at that. Is it a bad thing if someone has social media and not a website? You're currently working on it. I will say this. If you do not have a website and your website is not live and your website will not be live by May 12th, do not put it on your application. Like, do not have me click a link that does not work. And do not have me click a link that is not your best foot forward. So it is fine if you don't. We understand that, right? Technology is great. You can just sell straight off of your social media. I will say this again and again. Put your best foot forward. Do not put in front of us something that is not ready to go. Don't put in front of us something that you are not proud to stand behind. Um, like you want to put your best foot forward. And I see folks are hopping in the chat with suggestions. We love it. Help one another. Each one teach one. Does the age of your company affect being able to participate? You want to talk about that?
I would say no, as long as your company kind of is in that early stage. Yeah, just your company is an early stage business. It doesn't really matter when you started that company.
Okay. I might need to have this person confirm more. Is this program good for individuals who are socially and economically sissy? You're selling and marketing, but the results are not where you want them to be. I would say that even if they're not where you want them to be, if you are making sales, you have marketing going out there, like, yes, you can still apply. Okay, if a brand is live and has acquired great press over the years, but the brand may need a marketing refresh with the right guidance, is it still worth applying? Yes, it is still worth applying, for sure. Back to the point of we are really coming back to this over and over. It's just like putting your best foot forward. I will say I've seen many companies go through line reviews. Most companies, their packaging will get touched, their pricing will get touched. So across your time, even from early stage to even when you're entering into a mass retailer, like things are always up for grabs by the retailer for what they want change. So definitely still apply even if you're in the middle of a refresh. Just ensure that you're putting your best foot forward. So I'm loving all of this helpful advice. Shout out to all y'all. I can't read it yet. I'll have to read this afterwards, but shout out to all the advice that's hopping into the chat. Can you, I'm trying to see here. Do we have any programs right now for startups, like people who are probably pre-revenue? Do you want to talk about that, Hannah?
Right now, we don't have any programs for people that are pre-revenue.
Awesome. So someone asked about back to categories. What about jewelry? No, jewelry fits within the umbrella of apparel and accessories. Someone's focused on women's health and wellness. Yeah, you would fall within OTC personal care there. Do DIY kits fit in the category? So if you mean by DIY like kids crafts, yes, you do fit in. It's under like toys entertainment. Non-US companies that have plans up in the US, are there opportunities for them? Yes, we are international. One thing to think about is the times of the day. So the program will run from 5 to 8 p.m. Central Time. And so sorry, people virtual working. If, for example, that is for you 2 a.m. in the morning, you have to make the decision for yourself if you can make that 2 a.m. work. But the time is 5 to 8 p.m. Central. Do you want to go through a couple of these questions?
Yeah. How much inventory do we need to have to be qualified? I would say, actually don't think we ask any inventory questions on the application. So the answer is any.
You sold your products, but not in stores for a small amount. Yep. If you've sold a product and you have made money, yes, you can apply for the program. Tabletop games, yes. That fits. Backpacks. No, backpacks don't fit. That falls under the category of like apparel and accessories. That's a heavy owned brand one. Eyewear. No, eyewear doesn't fit. We don't own our optical at Target. We mentioned needing be geared toward. Okay, when you mention needing to be geared towards brick and mortar retail, is that like we need to be working towards retail like Target or as well as our own brick and mortar? Great question. Love the aspiration to have your own brick and mortar, but most specifically, we mean like you have a desire to like get onto get onto a shelf. So obviously we're biased. Target signs our paycheck every 2 weeks. So we hope the goal is Target, but we also are acknowledged, and you'll hear us say this over and over in the program. It is as much of a win as you get to get on a Target shelf as it is a Walmart shelf, as it is a Walgreens. Each of us have different value props that we bring to the consumer, and one value prop might align with your product better than a Target will. And we keep that 100 throughout the program. This is about y'all. Like when we say generational wealth building companies, like that's not for show. Like we truly mean that, and we know that sometimes building generational wealth doesn't just happen at Target. It sometimes happens at multiple. So all that to say, like, yep, we're just looking for people who want to be on shelf.
Awesome. If I want a grant from an organization for entrepreneurship success, can that qualify as an option for Notable Press? Yes, and congratulations. That's awesome. Are there rules for the use of the $5,000 stipend? Nope. We pretty much just send you a check, so you can use that in whatever makes sense for
But I'll
you.
keep it 100. If your internet is running slow, I will ask you if you use the stipend for internet. I will. I joke around, y'all, if you haven't picked up on that. But no, for real, you can use it for whatever you want that you need to supplement for the program. If you were making sales last year and you're currently rebranding and your new stock won't be here in 6 weeks, do you still apply? Or does it still apply? Can you still apply? Yes, because you have, right? It's all a lot of what we put in place isn't hard guardrails to like hurt or help. It's more so so you have the correct information to build off of going into the program. So if you've done sales last year, you have right data on what's going on. You have an idea of who your consumer is, right? You have some of that. And so like even if your stock isn't here, like you've definitely learned like what it feels like to have to restock, right? And inventory and things like that. So you can have that walking into the program. If selected for an interview, I love this. How do you best prepare? Okay, we'll play off each other. I'll think of two things, and then Hannah, you think of two things. First thing is know your own brand story really, really well, right? Like I can almost guarantee you the first thing you're talking about, hi, who are you? Tell me a little bit about yourself and your brand. Like be ready to say that. Also be mindful, you have 15 minutes. So if you were talking the whole time and we don't have a chance to answer questions, like that's not really behooves you in the best interest. So like just keep track of like don't tell us your whole life story from the womb. Like keep it pretty centered on like what we need to know. People do that a lot. I would also say to be best prepared is to have a really remember what you put in your application because that's what we're gonna have in front of us when talking. Also have an idea of like target. So for example, might not happen as much as here. If a lot of times people come to me and go, "You guys don't have any like natural shampoo on your shelves," and then you're like, "Okay, have you walked into a Target store recently?" Right? So like, be really careful with absolutes. Really careful with saying these big statements about Target because you never know who you're talking to. Sometimes you can be talking to the person who made the decision for what's on shelves. So do your homework on Target before walking into a meeting. Because like I said, you never know who you're talking to, good or bad.
Yeah, I would agree with everything Alana said. I'll also give you kind of a secret. If you're interviewing with me, you can probably expect to first be asked, tell me about yourself and your company. Like Alana said, keep it short and sweet. And then I would also say prepare a couple questions to ask us. 15 minutes will go by super fast, but if there is time for you guys to ask questions, it is always so great when people come to the interview with thoughtful questions to ask.
So question about LLC, as long as it's your LLC, you are good. Yes, we work with disabled vets. That falls historically under resourced for us. Do you need a barcode? No, you don't. Can we repeat the challenge with home decor companies? Yes, it is a different way in, which requires a different set of education and different conversations. And so our topics are not as helpful for those who are in more so those A&A and home decor brands. It's just a different conversation. It's a target. Back to the category question, yes, yoga items count in wellness. What are some of the metrics that we're looking for in terms of revenue, profit margins, etc.? For this program, we only ask about revenue. We ask about revenue and price point. And they're both helping us tell a holistic story of your company and just having a sense of where you're at. But you won't get ruled out purely on that, on just a revenue or anything. But we do not ask about profit margins because those can change, and those are big parts of discussion for the program. Someone has 3 co-founders. Can they all participate in the weekly meetings? Yeah. Yeah. If you already submit your application and it does not fit well, will be held for other opportunities? Yes. So someone goes, okay, I'll ask this and you can answer it. Someone says their current costs are not set up for retail. Margins aren't quite there. Is this something that the program can help me with, or do you expect applicants have their costs in a good place when they're ready to be on shelf?
I would say that if your current costs are not set up for retail and your margins aren't quite there, that is 100% totally fine to participate in this program. We kind of talk through pricing strategy as it relates to getting your company in retail in the future. So as a reminder, this program is not set up for you to get on shelf after the 8-week program, but really from 1 to 3 years in the future. So you will learn kind of what target or what mass retail is looking for in terms of margin, and then hopefully use the next couple years to be able to set your business up to accomplish that.
Yeah. And Hannah, something that you said there, I will just bring this home for folks is, so part of our job is yes, we work on this program, but part of our job is we also sit on the team at Target, who's part of the $2 billion commitment to bring on 500 Black-owned businesses. So we see a lot of businesses coming through. We are evaluating a lot of businesses. We're seeing who's getting in and who's getting out. Even if you think you're ready for mass retail, the chances of that are pretty low, right? There's a difference between selling on Target shelves and selling in one store, in your city. The operations that you have to have, the amount of floating capital that you need to have, how strategically aligned you are, your ability to pay for marketing in multiple locations, probably in different markets. So all that to say, we don't flippantly we're not trying to be flippant when we're you probably will not be ready to sustain Target business afterwards. We say this because we have seen what it looks like when a company goes in and does not have their operation set. That is why we built this program, is to help people understand what it truly takes so that we can see right on the other side great businesses who are using retail as a channel of distribution to continue to grow their business. So I just want to throw that out there of a lot of times we were saying yep, this is because you probably won't be ready. It's because we see day in, day out, companies coming through and what criteria it means to be ready or not. And if you want to have a coffee chat over that, we can do that. Is there?
Alana, I have a question for you. So if a company sells products in different industries, so clothing, ceramics, footwear, accessories, kitchen utensils, if they are eligible in some of those categories, but not other, can they still apply for the program?
Yes, as long as you have products that are in our categories, you are fair game to go. I would say tip for your application, do not lead with your, like if you're listing out 10 products, do not put the first 5 products as products that don't fit into our, like, so if you're selling clothing and makeup, do not have the first 5 things you list be clothing. Have the first 5 things be makeup, right? Because we're looking at applications and we're going quickly, and so like we just need to know. How do you make the decision on what company you accept? Oh yeah, how do you make a decision on what company we're going to accept into the program? So we'll literally the criteria that we laid out earlier in the call, right? So we are literally looking at like what your company does, what problem are you trying to solve, are you looking to get on retail shelves in the future, are you have growth mindset, like it, that's the exact criteria that our teams have to look at for sure. And if your business is the right fit for this program, like you're not too far along or you're too early and not selling at all. What question is, what if the pandemic has greatly impacted your business? Great question. I think everyone definitely got hit from the pandemic, so less looking at what's the word I'm looking for, less looking at to see like the dips and ups and downs from the pandemic. Like we were really looking to understand where your business is at today, and what products you sell is really what's going into our evaluation. Is there a certain amount of companies per category that you're accepting? We don't have like, it's not a hard fast rule whatsoever. We're putting together the best combination of companies. Question is, does physical sales count? You've sold most of your products door to door, not typically online from my website. Yep, that counts. We're just looking at straight revenue. We're not looking at the breakout by distribution channel. So we are right at time. I know that y'all are great at using this Q&A feature. I know that we did not get to everybody like we wanted to. So if you guys have any more questions, please email us at forwardfounders@target.com. You are more likely to get a quick response with that versus going through our personal email. So forwardfounders@target.com. We are cheering for you, whether you come into our program or not. We are excited for you. We're excited to see where your businesses go. Just remember, even if this program doesn't fit, we have a whole portfolio of programs and more opportunities that are coming your way. So we hope that each and every one of you has a beautiful day, and best of luck to you guys.
Yes, awesome. Thank you, everyone.